I'm working on lots of little projects today. Today I'm camped outside of Ehrenberg in Arizona. That's right on the California border, right next to a very small city named Blythe. And so I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, boondocking, gorgeous views, working on a few projects today. Check out that view here. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm parked right on the edge of this little small cliff with a ravine, a small valley down below. It's just absolutely gorgeous down here, and amazingly and surprisingly green. You can see the step van here, my little chair, and looking down into the valley here. It's absolutely beautiful sunsets in the evening. I'll have to try to capture one of those. Hopefully get it on this video. One of my projects today is to start cutting and working on my ceiling panels. I have put this off for almost 2 years now. I'll link a video above where I removed the existing ceiling panels, which were made out of aluminum, and behind it were just fragments, just a tiny wisp, a little bit of fiberglass material back there, almost nothing in the ceiling. And eventually I replaced that with polyiso foam boards, which is what I have now. And I've been driving around with nothing over that and just some sort of wood toggles trying to hold that in there. So recently I purchased some new ceiling panels. Let me show you those. Here are the new panels that I have set outside on my sawhorses, just outside my rig here. This stuff here is called 4mm chloroplast. It's a plastic kind of cardboard. You can see that it's fluted here on the edges. It's typically used for making signs and material, stuff like that. Usually you'll see this in white or various colors, but they also make it in this clear translucent. So my thought is to put these panels up on the ceiling, and you'll be able to see sort of the silver reflective material from the polyiso foam. Right now I have polyiso foam boards in my ceiling for insulation, and both sides of the foam board is lined with this sort of silver reflective material that you can see above here. So I think that that will be visible mostly through the clear chloroplast panels that I just purchased. And I have an idea. I don't know if it's going to work out, but my idea is to put some twinkle lights and adhere those or tape those to this polyiso panels up here, and then sandwich it and put the chloroplast, the clear panels, over that. So I'll be able to turn on the lights and you'll be able to see those sort of behind the back of these clear panels. So that's the idea. We'll see if that turns out. It'll probably take me a little while to get all that set up and done, but I'm excited for the idea. It sounds like it could be fun. First thing I need to do is to cut 1 foot off these panels. They're 4x8 and my ceiling width is 7 foot. So I've got to cut a foot off of here. That's 84 inches so that they'll go side to side, and they should fit in perfectly. Made my first cut. You can see this is going to be the remnant left over. I'm going to use this other places in my build just to fill in and give a little bit of extra insulation. It's not much, but it does have an air gap in there really close. Anyway, so now I have a section here that'll fit in my ceiling, and I am using a wheel chock here to sort of keep the thing held down. There's just a little bit of a breeze today, and I don't want these panels to go flying away. Now I'm going to do a test fit just to get an idea if these things will actually fit in here. I think I might have mismeasured somewhere. You can see on this side it's all the way against the wall, and same over there. Thought for sure I measured this correctly, but maybe not. Well, it appears that I'm 1 inch off. Need to shave off 1 more inch to be able to get those panels to fit across. It's 83 inches. If you happen to have a step van Grumman Olson like I have, that's going to be your ceiling panel width if you're cutting panels like this. I cut the new panel back here to 83 inches. Fits perfectly. I couldn't film that. Well, I didn't film it while I was putting it up there. It is a nightmare trying to do this by myself, getting it curved and twisted up there just to fit properly. Definitely a two-person job. I've got to put this on hold until I can get somebody else to come down here and spend a few hours helping me put these panels up. But before that, I've still got to do some preparation work. I need to move these lights that are up here out of the way and change the wiring on them to the position that I want to put them. Still have to put the twinkle lights in, and I need to put some insulative tape. So I have this pipe tape here that's used to keep the pipes from freezing, and I'm going to run it across the aluminum joints up here. You can see I have the tape here on this joint going across it, but it's not over here, so there's bare aluminum here. I can feel the difference in temperature between the polyiso foam and the aluminum, which connects to the outside, so that's thermo bridging. And then over here, where I put my fingers on top of this tape, it's about the same temperature as the foam, so need to add that as well. I have a little bit of problem here today in the step van, and that is my sink has clogged and I don't have any Drano liquid plumber kind of stuff to dump in there. And so I was asking a couple of people parked next to me for assistance and ideas, see if they had some Drano stuff to be able to put in there to clear out the drain. And I think that's because this last week I got a thing of bacon and I was cooking bacon. I didn't dump the grease in there, I know not to do that, but just cleaning off the dishes and things like that, I think that was enough to be able to clog up that. So it makes me wonder about my insides. Maybe bacon's not so good for me, so I'm gonna lay off the bacon for a little while. So anyway, I've enlisted some help from my friend Badge, who is parked next to me here. And he is helping me pull apart the actual P-trap, the area underneath the sink. So that's what we've started doing, and we're going to clean that out. We just removed the bottom end of the sink here. This is what was all full, and dumped it down into this bucket here so you can see that. And right here is the bottom side where we removed the P-trap, and it goes into that 5-gallon in the back there, which is my gray water. You can see the hose, connector hose over there. Badge is outside here and he is working with me to clean out this P-trap. So that's a project for today.
Hi, I'm Badge. Everybody knows who I am. This is the drain on the bottom of Seven's sink. Now what he did was, it just gets, you can't really drain it out, so it gets all full of gunk. So it's really hard to clean in there. So what you do is you take it apart. There's 2 screws in it and you pull it apart like this, and it's just full of gunk, right? Because this is like a really fancy P-trap. You know, a P-trap is a hose that got the big hook in it so that you don't get the smell back, right? That's what this does. So what you do is you just, these are old like old bottles for peanuts or whatever. Keep a couple of them around. Just water and dish soap. And then you just put it in there, put the lid on it, shake her up a bit, and then you just take it out, clean as a whistle. Do that with the other one, put it in. Now the thing when you're cutting grease, the only thing that works I found is Dawn. That's what you use, Dawn. It cuts all the grease, right? Then you just take it out, and look at that, she's clean as a whistle. And then just put it back together and put it back on, and it'll work like a dream. But the problem is, after it's plugged, you can't really clean it in there, because when you take it out, you get it all in your cupboard. So the best thing to do is just take it out like we did, put it in a jug of water. It doesn't even have to be hot water, just cold water, and some Dawn soap.
So isn't that brilliant? I had absolutely no idea. I was just looking for liquid Drano and going to dump it in the sink. That's what I thought the solution was. This is far, far simpler, easier, and as you can see, it was just super fast. We just need to take these pieces and parts after they're cleaned back inside, reassemble it, and I'm good to go. Badge is down here assembling it again because he's got the rubber gloves on, and he's lightning fast. He's just in and out just like that. Today I'm being mentored in some auto mechanics, some diesel mechanics, by one of the experts in our nomadic community, Badge. And you'll see him on a number of videos. He actually has his own channel, which he just started, and he's doing a lot of different kinds of little tips and tricks in there. So I just subscribed. Recommend you subscribe. I'll put a link down below. Today's project, we're looking at the fuel hose, right where the hose connects to the fuel tank. I have a slight leak, and that's because the hose is over 20 years old, and rubber like that, rubber hoses just fail over time. So I have a new hose, and Badge is going to help me and show me how to install it.
The job we're doing today is the oil or the fill hose for the fuel. These wear out. Nobody ever changes them, but they wear out. So what you do is you just measure the outside of the tube, which was 2 inches. Well, it was 191 is what it was. And you just measure the hose and then go measure the tube, make sure it's the same one, because the problem is this stuff gets so hard that you can't really get it off. So to take it off, it's really, so what you do is you just go in there and cut the old one off, put the new one on. But anyway, that's the new hose clamps. I'll cut it off, put it on. Bob's your uncle.
All right, under here you can see the fuel hose where it goes into the tank right there, and that's where it's leaking, right at that joint there. Here's the old hose. You can see how cracked and old it is. Badge is just pulling it apart here. You can see it's all just falling apart.
So it's all cracked right at the steel part right there. You see the cracks there. And it just seeps out, right? That's what it's doing. There's a good one right inside there. I don't know if you can see that one. It's hard to see that crack on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's where it seeps out and comes down because you can't seal it, right? Okay, so for putting on rubber or something, what I use is silicone brake lubricant. Now, just because it says brake lubricant, it's still silicone grease, right? It doesn't matter what, you look at this side of the can, it doesn't know any different. So what you do is you just take a little bit of this silicone grease and put it on the inside like so. And when it gets on there, this hose has got a lip it goes over, so it's not going to slip off, believe me. And then when you put the clamp on, it'll just squeeze the grease out anyway. So yeah, so we just put it in there like so, and then we'll pop it up in there and tighten her up. Should be good as good. Now you're just wondering why I'm using this. This is what you call a ratcheting screwdriver with a socket on it. Because anybody that worked on this stuff knows how many times do you put the screwdriver through your hand. Use a 5/16 socket and that won't happen. Right here where it's clamped on with the hose clamp here. So what you do is take the hose clamp out and then you can move this out of the way to get the hose in, you see, because now we're not cutting it. We got to put it in one piece. So you just move it like this and you can move it around. Little trick.
And so the fuel hose project is now complete. Thank you, Badge, for helping me out with that, showing me how it was done, and actually tackling the labor itself crawling under there. You just made it look like a NASCAR driver hopping in there, in and out. I swear that whole project probably took 10-15 minutes, something like that. So incredibly fast. I'm working on lots of little projects today, and one of those is checking the levels on my batteries, which I do the first week of the month typically, and a little bit behind this time because I wanted to get here and get set up. And yesterday it was raining and I wanted to do one other project when I was doing the batteries. This is my new battery box here, and normally it has a bookshelf which fits very nicely between these aluminum rails here, and underneath this lid is the batteries. While I have the bookshelf off, I added this little lip here on the front so that the books don't slide out while I'm driving. But I messed up a little bit and I made both of these lips the same width and then realized I couldn't get the books out from one of the shelves. So I went back and I recut this and made it narrower, and then I just added some white paint here to the outside so that it would look, I don't know, sort of nice and different. I just checked the battery levels, topped off a few of the little water things. They're looking much better and good for another month. Just need to put the books back into the bookshelf over here and see if they all fit. This is one of the tallest books, so as you can see here, it doesn't fit into the top one without having to go in sideways. So what I tried to do is make it to where it can fit in the bottom shelf. So tall books in the bottom shelf, just like that, and they won't fall out. So these books are for my book exchange, so these have all been donated to me, and every time that somebody comes in and has tea in the step van, they can look through these books, take as many as they want, and maybe replenish my supply. Well, that's all I have for this episode. Several great projects accomplished during the day. Badge helped me out with 2 major projects. One, getting that fuel leak fixed in the fuel hose and showing me how to put that together. He actually did that whole thing. Originally, I intended to do it myself with him showing me how, but it was just so fast. He hopped in there and took care of it. The other was fixing the drain in my sink and getting that to drain properly. Thank you, Badge, for helping me out with both of those projects. And then my other little project that I tackled myself was the bookshelf. Pulling that off, checking battery levels, putting the little lip on the edge, adjusting the heights, and getting the books back in. So that was pretty much a full day for me. It's a productive day. Success all the way around. Thank you so much for watching. Savor the moment, and I'll see you next episode.